Hi, everyone. Before you actually start the Unit 5 review, I just wanted to go over some of the things that you should have learned during Unit 5. I know we're coming to the end. The Unit 5 exit ticket is your last assignment this week, and that will count as a quiz assignment score. And then next week, you are going to do an activity that will count as a test score to finish out Unit 5. It's the end of the marking period, so you do need to make sure you're getting everything in. I know some of you need to bring up your grade. That's why I'm going to give you some things next week and also some extra credit if needed. To review Unit 5, there were actually two main things that you should know at this point. You should be able to say, I can write and interpret an equation for a line in slope-intercept form, and I can write, graph, and interpret linear functions. We haven't used the word function that much, but at this point, if I replace that with equation, you should be able to write and interpret a linear equation. So if you can do those two things, you um, are able to say that you were able to do Unit 5. I wanted to bring up a couple topics that I think are important. The main thing that you should know right now is y equals mx plus b. So that's one of the main topics that you covered throughout this unit. And to review, we have m, and m is your slope. And then you also have your b, and b is your y-intercept. Okay, so if we start looking at that, if I talk about slope first, okay, our slope is m, and we also say it is our change in y over our change in x. So change in y is how much does the line change going up or down, and the change in x is how much does the line change going left or right. So that's the main thing with slope so far. The second part is the y-intercept, so we have b, which is b, and the y-intercept is the point where the line crosses the y-axis. Okay, so if you know those two things, you can be pretty successful throughout this entire unit. The other thing that I want to bring up is when you are actually doing these two, or what two things do you need to do with these two, is you should be able to take an equation and graph it, and you should also be able to have a line graph and write the equation. So our two topics are graph from an equation, or graph from y equals mx plus b, and write y equals mx plus b from a graph. Okay? One thing that I noticed as I was going through what you had been doing throughout the unit is with slope. So I want to bring up a couple things with slope. Oops, let me zoom out again. There's two things with slope that you have to be careful about. So if I have slope, oh, I'm still pink. If I have slope and, well, let's just go with, there we go. And I am writing it from either a graph or the equation y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. No matter what, when I write my slope, it has to be written or be able to be written as a fraction, and it also has to be simplified. So if I have 6 over 4, and I enter that into Delta Math, I'm going to get that wrong because it's not simplified. And a lot of you did that during your assignments because I can simplify this using a calculator, or I can divide both by 2, and my slope is going to be 3 over 2. So that's 2 things. Make sure you simplify and have a fraction. Okay? The one exception, I guess, which you would not have a fraction for is if you have a negative. So if you end up with a slope such as, let's say, m is negative 3 over 1, then your answer would just be negative 3, okay, because that can be written as a fraction. All right, so hopefully that clears up a few issues that you had while you were working. I am going to make an individual video for each topic that is on the review. If I look at the topics that you're going to be covering in the review and in the exit tickets, here's a list here. So I'm just going to make a quick video for each of them. I'm going to put 2 examples in each video, and hopefully that will help you. Okay, let me know if you have any other questions. Thank you.